started, if I may have your attention, please. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to the Verity Day celebration. It's just great to have you here, and the weather's cooperated. It looked pretty dismal early this morning, but everything is turning out just terrific. I'm Bill Seymour, and I am chairing the celebration committee. And as you well know, Bill and Peggy have been on an extremely tight schedule ever since Bill was nominated by the President to serve as Secretary of Commerce. And we're just very pleased and very delighted that they could arrange their schedule to be with us in such short notice, and we really appreciate it. We've got an action-packed program. We're going to try and move it along, and I think it's only appropriate that we start by calling on Bill Verity's American Legion Post number 218 to present the colors.
Color guard. Right shoulder, forward. Right feet. Forward, forward. Detail, halt. Left feet.
Now will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Present, forward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now let's move into the national anthem, and our own Mrs. Marva Sampson will lead us in the singing and will be accompanied by the Middletown High School Band. And folks, let's really let it hang out and show that we really are all very proud to be Americans. It's a good chance to do it. Marva?
Please join in with me as the band plays.
Present, forward.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, blue from stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the warriors red rose were singing. They moved through the night, but our flag was still there. Oh, save us that star-spangled o'er the
That was just great, Marva.
Forward. Order, forward.
I'd like to express our appreciation to the high school band and to the color guard for their participation. Thank you very much, gentlemen. There are many visiting dignitaries with us this afternoon, and they're located right in the long front row here. And they represent state and local government, chambers of commerce, and other organizations that are here to honor Bill and Peggy. And while time doesn't permit introductions, we welcome them, and we're delighted that all of you could be with us this afternoon. We really appreciate it. Today's celebration is a very special one because it provides our community with the opportunity to publicly recognize and thank Bill and Peggy for the many contributions they have made over the years, and to let them know how proud we all are of Bill's nomination as Secretary of Commerce. Now, we're going to honor the Verities in several different ways this afternoon. And after everyone is finished with their presentations, we'll probably even give Bill a chance to get into the act, because after all, it is his party. So we'll start out by first calling on Steve Lake, who is president of the Middletown Chamber and who will make a presentation on behalf of the Chamber. Steve? Thank
you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, our Middletown Area Chamber's Blue Ribbon Recognition Program is less than a year old. It began with a challenge grant from the Barnett's Foundation. Bill Seymour got us started in the right direction, and current chairman Tom Weatherwax has led the development of criteria for selecting individuals and organizations. We are fortunate to live in an area where cooperative efforts and voluntary action for the public good are the norm for this size of a community. So our statement of purpose of a Blue Ribbon Achiever had to meet at least one of 4 of the criteria we have set forth. And I'd like to discuss those with you real shortly. An exceptional service to others less fortunate, the sacrifice of personal comfort to aid others, leadership that inspires others to seek greater achievements themselves, or innovative ideas or actions which concentrate positively to the area's job pool or economic development. When we look at the record of activities, achievements, and hard work that Peggy and Bill Verity have compiled together, it's apparent that they qualify under all 4 categories. Each of you here tonight undoubtedly can give us 1 or more examples of their contributions to improving the quality of life in our community. We, of course, are very proud that a native son and a former president of our Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce was elevated first to the chairmanship of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and now will be our nation's Secretary of Commerce. That certainly represents a pinnacle of business achievement. But I suggest this achievement becomes even more significant with the backdrop of constant, dedicated, and effective service to our community. Despite the many demands on their time and resources, Bill and Peggy Verity always found the time, energy to respond to their community's needs. It's my privilege to add to our roll of honor the names of Bill and Peggy Verity and to say that our loss will be our nation's gain. Mrs. Verity, please accept this Baccarat vase as a token of our regard for your leadership and dedication. Mr. Verity, a man of commerce needs a world globe to keep his perspective in Washington, particularly one which has a blue ribbon in a very strategic location. Bill? Where's the blue ribbon? Right here. Shows Middletown, Ohio as a blue ribbon. So we thought about it. Congratulations. Thank you. Very good, Steve. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Steve. And I can't think of a better time to make a Blue Ribbon Award than right here. The Middletown Foundation is a relatively new but dynamic organization I think we're all going to hear a lot about in the future. And Ron Ely, president of the foundation, will now make a presentation. Ron?
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the trustees of the Middletown Community Foundation, I'd like to present a certificate of appreciation to Bill Verity. Rarely has a city's pride in its heart centered so completely and so appropriately in one individual. Your quiet leadership of the Capital Funds Drive for Middletown Community Foundation is but the most recent example of your dedicated efforts on behalf of your hometown. Its spectacular success reflects the affection and regard of Middletown area citizens in every walk of life for you and for what is important to you. As you undertake yet another challenging task, please take with our love, our respect, our warmest wishes, and our wholehearted support. Associating with you has enriched our lives.
You didn't hear the comment Bill made. He thought Ron was going to hit him up for another contribution. You missed the boat, Ron. Thank you very much, Ron. And now I'd like to ask John Holland, President of Arts in Middletown, to come forward and make a presentation on behalf of AIM. John?
Thank you, Bill. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon to represent the professional staff and the hundreds of volunteers of Arts in Middletown and its 5-member organizations, and to remind ourselves about the contribution that Bill and Peggy Verity have made to this organization. They've been involved from the very beginning. They've been conspicuous in their support, active and enthused in their contributions. When we've called on them for help, which has been many, many times, they have always responded in a magnificent way, and it's been a joy to have them associated with this organization. They also, better than many, I think, appreciate how important it is for a community to have a cultural heart as well as a commercial spirit. And when you get those two things together, you have a balance. And that balance makes it a sensational community like Middletown, Ohio, which is a great place to live and to work. And we're very grateful for all that Bill and Peggy have done to help us in that endeavor. Now, we wanted to thank them officially today for these great gifts of their time and their talent and their resources, and our problem was to select a memento. Now, I know that they have a full stock of these wonderful Ruthven paintings, which we sell at AIM, so we couldn't quite do that. But in one of our sessions, the comment was made, why don't we give them the day? Why don't we give them a piece of the hour of this very moment? So Bill and Peggy, circulating in the audience, even as I speak, is one of Southwest Ohio's most famous artists and talented executives, Tom Taylor. And he's making sketches and having photographs made. And when this is all collected in the days and weeks to come, it will be prepared in an original watercolor collage, which will be presented to Bill and Peggy on behalf of all of us. So until then, I'm going to give them a non-gift. There's nothing in this, but it's symbolic of what's coming. Bill?
Thank you very much, John. The next gentleman on the list is a very familiar and well-known friend of, I think, of just about everyone in the world. And he'll make a presentation for Midfest. Let me introduce Choppy Saunders, the 1987 Midfest chairman. Choppy?
Thank you, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill, your old friends at Midfest would like to extend their congratulations to your recent appointment, too. Bill has been a strong supporter of Midfest for a number of years and has also served on the Board of Trustees for a few years. We had some discussion, Bill, on what to get you, the same as AIM had. We had a problem, and I happen to recall a golf match that we had, and you hit a lot of balls in the lake. So I took my retriever and recovered quite a few of these, and that's not necessarily the truth, but I do have some golf balls. My understanding that on the Washington scene that there's a lot of golf courses and a lot of lakes. So Bill, we certainly hope that you find these useful, and in behalf of the board trustees and the staff and literally hundreds of volunteers connected with Midfest. We certainly wish you and Peg the best on the Washington scene. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Choppy. You're never at a loss for words. Now it gives me a pleasure to call on Harry Pratt, President of the Middletown Area Senior Citizens Group. Harry?
Thank you, Bill. Welcome, honored guests, and particularly our celebrities. Once again, Middletown is being recognized nationally because of one of its citizens and the drive, dedication, and initiative that represents the spirit of this community. James Oliver once made a quote, said, "The world is blessed by men who do things rather than by those who merely talk about them." The man we honor today is a perfect example of that quote. He has always been and will always continue to be a contributor for the benefit of the United States, business, government, and the people of the world. Bill and Peggy certainly represent the fact that the senior citizens are still active in leadership in the community and also in government. Bill's willingness to accept such a high position of respect and responsibility is just one more example of his dedication to his belief in the greatness of the United States. On behalf of the Board of Directors, the executive staff of Middletown Area Senior Citizens, the membership and the auxiliary, it gives me great pleasure to present them with life membership cards, both of them being 55 plus. You have the life membership. Thank you very much. You bet. Always welcome to come back to Middletown Center. We think it's a beauty. We think it leads those of the rest of the country. The senior citizens of Middletown compliment you on your new responsibilities and wish you nothing but the best to accomplish the tasks you see before you. You're not new to Washington. You're not new to being a diplomat. Diplomacy is the art of letting others have your way. Best of luck.
Thank you very much, Harry. There's no way a program such as this one could possibly be complete without hearing from the Middletown City Commission. So I'm delighted to call on Gary Shoup, Chairman, to make a presentation. Gary?
Bill Seymour is kind of taking tight control. We've all heard all the great things that the Verities have done for Middletown, and rather than read everything that we have here in the resolution, I'd like to read 2 paragraphs. Whereas Bill Verity has consistently demonstrated his love and concern for this area through service to the community and leadership in such organizations as Chamber of Commerce, Midfest International, Middletown Community Foundation, and others. I'm going to skip here. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the City of Middletown, Butler, and Warren counties do hereby designate C. William Verity and Peggy Wyman Verity as our first lifetime citizens of Middletown, with all honors and privileges pertaining thereto. And be it further resolved by the City Commission that the week of September the 6th to the 13th, 1987, is hereby proclaimed Bill and Peggy We're Proud of You Week. And we invite all Middletown area citizens to offer congratulations and Godspeed to our lifetime citizens during their leave of absence in our nation's capital, and to participate in the celebration and to wish them well.
Call on Courtney Combs, the Butler County Commission Chairman, who would like to read a proclamation. Courtney?
As commissioners, we like to do things together, so I would like to recognize my counterparts, Vice President Cale Logston, Cale, and Edward Shelton. The Butler County Commissioners, County of Butler, State of Ohio. Proclamation, whereas C. William Verity, Jr. has served as Chairman and President of Armco Incorporated, the nation's 5th largest steelmaker, until 1982, and as such was one of our community's most influential and respected business leaders. And whereas Mr. Verity also served as president of the United States Chamber of Commerce in 1980 and 81, and in that post was an outspoken advocate of free and fair trade. And whereas Mr. Verity headed the President's private sector initiative designed to promote voluntary action to address the nation's social service needs. And whereas Mr. Verity's extensive experience in both business and government will stand him well in his duties as Secretary of Commerce. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Butler County, Ohio, that the Board expresses its appreciation and respect for C. William Verity for his many years of dedicated service to the people of Middletown and to Butler County, and the Board urges the United States Senate to confirm forthwith the nomination of Mr. Verity as Secretary of Commerce. In witness, therefore, we have set our hands and the seal of this county on the 10th day of September of our Lord, 1987. Courtney E. Combs, KLL Logston, and Edward Shelton, Commissioners. Bill and Peggy, we wish you luck. We hate to see you leave Butler County, but you have brought us notoriety, and we hope the best for both of you and your family.
Thank you very much. I hope I do get some
We do too. We will.
Thank you very much, Courtney, for being with us this afternoon. Now we're very fortunate to have two distinguished Middletown area members of the Ohio Legislature with us to offer a tribute to Bill and Peggy, and it's a real pleasure to introduce Senator Barry Levy and Representative John Boehner.
Mr. Chairman and Peggy and Bill, of all of the things we've shared in public and private life, I think this is probably our proudest moment. I had a very difficult assignment today, and I was ordered by the chairman and the committee to generate a short Senate tribute to Bill and Peggy Verity. And if you know the Senate and you know lawyers, it was very difficult. But we have prepared one which we enacted yesterday in the Senate. And I, too, would only extract, Bill and Peggy, a paragraph or two from it, which I think illustrates our feelings of the community and those of us that are in public service at the moment. I'll forget the whereas, but where Bill Verity has shown a sincere commitment to bettering the world around him, and he has, with the love and support of his wife Peggy, achieved a praiseworthy record of service to the Middletown community over the years. They have given generously of their time, talents, and expertise in numerous community service and humanitarian endeavors. And in recognition of their outstanding work, William and Peggy Verity have been named lifetime citizens of Middletown. It is through the unsurpassed efforts and deep commitment of conscientious citizens such as William and Peggy Verity that our nation continues to grow and prosper, and that Ohio maintains its reputation as a state which is responsive to the needs of its citizens. Whereas in all of his endeavors, C. William Verity has repeatedly displayed outstanding competence and commitments of which we can be proud. Such qualities have been vital factors in his success, and we are certain that as he assumes his duties and responsibilities as Commerce Secretary, he will accept each new challenge as an opportunity for growth and achievement and will maintain his unwavering commitment to excellence. This also was executed by the Ohio Senate and signed by the officers, and I give it to you with deep honor and humility, Peggy and Bill. I'd like to now call on Representative John Boehner.
Thank you, Barry, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me the privilege and opportunity to be here with you today. Peggy and Bill, I know how pleased you must be to be here in Middletown today with all of your friends and neighbors, and I really am proud to be here on this dais with all of you. Rather than go in and read all of this as others, or try to even shorten it, on behalf of myself and the other members of the 117th General Assembly of Ohio, the Ohio House of Representatives, I have a joint resolution here honoring Bill and all of his achievements here in Middletown and throughout the country. And I'd like to present this to you, Bill, on behalf of a great job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, John.
I'd like to compliment both Barry and John for carrying out their assignments. You were just great. It probably will come as no surprise that the final tribute in today's program comes from Armco. And we're delighted to have both Bob Bonai, Chairman and CEO, and Carl Fiora, President of Eastern Steel, with us to make a presentation on behalf of Armco. Bob?
Thanks, Bill. At this time in any ceremony, I'm reminded of the 5 B's of speech making basics, and that is, be brief, brother, be brief. I'm honored to represent Armco today at this very colorful ceremony. Bill Verity and his family have meant so much to Armco's retirees and active employees. We just don't have enough time this afternoon to talk about all the many great things they've done for all of us. I salute Bill Verity's leadership, his vision, and especially his concerns about his family, about Armco, about this community, about our country, and about the world. We at Armco are so proud of Bill and love him so much that we had to think long and hard about what would be an appropriate gift to give to Bill and Peggy for them to carry with them on their new assignment. So Carl Fiora, would you come up and help me, please? This Iron Man statue This statue is presented each year to the employees and to Armco's plants throughout the world who achieve the best safety performance. It's Armco's Award of Excellence, and it was created in 1925 by a very famous sculptor named Charles Barnhorn, who used photographs of many of Armco's employees, went around and met many of them, and he created this composite figure of an Armco steelworker, not just of old, but represents him as well today. No symbol could be more representative of Armco and Armco's people.
It's inscribed, presented to Bill Verity, September 12th, 1987, from your friends at Armco.
Well, there are many of Armco's employees from throughout the country here today, and we send Bill and Peggy off to Washington with our fondest affections and goodwill. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bob and Carl. It was just wonderful. I think maybe at this time it'd be appropriate just to have a big round of applause for everyone up here who has done such a tremendous job this afternoon. As we move along, I was thinking of a few comments after the hearings the other night, and Bill, after listening to the whole affair on C-SPAN last Thursday night, I came to the conclusion that you're not only an excellent speaker, but you're also a great listener. And since you had a lot of listening to do to all those questions, we decided that you ought to have the opportunity to say something with no strings attached. So, Bill, here's your chance.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much, Bill, and thank all of you for being here. I'm sure that when you planned this 2 or 3 weeks ago, you had no idea you'd know so much about me as you do now. And I'm a little surprised after you must have read all the newspapers that there's so many here. I should start out, no matter what I say, if confirmed. I've been taught that I can't say anything except starting with that. But I'd like to thank all of these people who represent all of you who have been so kind, starting with Marva, who sang beautifully in that beautiful dress. I want to thank the county for their proclamation, and Gary Shoup. For Choppy, I have something special. He says I shanked those balls into shaker. I played with him that day, and I can tell you he needs some upgrading in his clubs. So, as you know, we're going to move to Washington, hopefully, and we're cleaning out our garage. I found a club that still has a wood shaft, but it's a more recent one than his. And by the way, we've got an awful lot of other junk out there. Just stop by and pick it up, and we're going to have a garage sale just before we move, I think. I know that you've aimed most of these things at me, but I know as well as all of you know that when I became president of Armco just 22 years ago next month, and Logan Johnson, who was then the president, said, "Bill, just in case you get a big head over this, we want you to know that the reason we did this was 85% Peggy and 15% you." And I've known that for a long, long time. You know, Peggy and I were talking about this a little earlier, and we said, you know, they seem to be trying to get us out of town pretty quick, don't they? And it did remind me of that old Mark Twain story about the fellow that they tarred and feathered and drove him out of town on a fence post. And when he got out at the city limits, somebody said something to him, and he said, "Well, you know, if it weren't for the honor of the thing, I'd have rather walked." Well, if it weren't for the honor of this thing, we would have much preferred not to have you do all this, but we want you to know that we're awful happy that you did. I got up to this part from Choppy, and I want to go down the rest of the table here to thank them, because Ron Ely didn't ask me for another contribution, and I appreciate it. I don't know if you know it, but Bill Seymour was in a golf tournament today. He still got on his golf shoes. And Steve, I appreciate what you said. I hope you'll keep this community a blue ribbon community with a strong chamber. Keep your leadership program going, because that's one of the strongest things you have. Johnny Holland, I can't tell you how happy we'll be with a Tom Taylor original, particularly if it's some of these faces here today. Harry, those look like awful fancy senior citizen passes, but that's just where we are at this moment. In fact, somebody said, "Bill, how do you think the rest of the cabinet will take to you?" I said, "Oh, I think they're going to like me a lot. I've made him a younger member, because I'll now be the oldest man next to the president." So. Barry and John, both Peggy and I appreciate those proclamations. We'll take them to Washington. I'll put them in that office to prove that we really got support back home. And Carl and Bob, nothing could be more appropriate than to have the Iron Man in Washington. I think Bob and I have worked many, many years to tried to make that Ironman as meaningful as it is. And I just want you to know, Bob, it's very meaningful to us at this time. I think you and Carl are doing a wonderful job. Carl has done such a splendid job in Eastern Steel. And Bob, you, under terribly difficult circumstances, have brought Armco through its worst time, and now it's on the up and up, and everyone in this room loves you for it. Please keep it up. None of you have any idea how hot it is up here. With that tent and those lights, if I talk much longer, every one of these people is going to take it back. Uh-oh.
I was just going to say how nice it is to have the cameras in front of us. At the hearings, they introduced our grandchildren and had them all stand up. And they took the picture from the back of the room, which was not much fun. Can I tell about the tree?
I'd love for you to.
Well, this reminds me of when we built our house in Thornhill some years ago. Bill's mother said she would like to give us a copper beech tree that was in their side yard, and she would have it moved down to our house, and we thought that was wonderful. And she said Calvin will never miss it, and so she had it moved down. It was quite a large tree. They had to take down telephone wires and everything. They got it there, and they planted it, and it's still thriving. Well, a little bit later, I said to Calvin, Pops, do you miss that tree at all? And he said, humph, have you ever lost a back tooth? Well, that's sort of like it feels to leave Middletown. There's going to be a great big gap in our hearts, but we are for sure going to find a condominium here and come back as often as we can. And thank you for everything today that's happened. Thank you so much.
You're beautiful.
You see, you should have had her all along. I'm only going to say two more things. One is, and Peggy said it better than I can, that we are going to miss all of you, and I'd like to just introduce those people we're leaving behind in our family, because I have 4 grandchildren and a few children here who went to Washington for those hearings. And I asked the White House, should I bring them or not? And the White House said, by all means. We'll put them in the front row, and you tell them to just sit up straight and look interested, and whenever one of those senators starts to embarrass your grandfather, you just stare at him. I wanted you to meet the 4 best stare-downers and the best children. Come on, Will Power and Happy Power and Vicky Verity and Jed Verity and Vivi Verity and Jonathan Power. And in closing, I want you to know that if I'm not confirmed, I'll bring all these things back and give them back to you. Thank you all for this wonderful going-away present for Peggy and me. We will cherish it all of our lives. It's such a wonderful memory to have of old friends as you embark on a new career. And when you can start a new career at 70, it means an awful lot. Thank you for being here.
And we decided the best way to do it was to set up tables with champagne around the plaza, and you've probably noticed them. They're back around there and out towards the parking lot. But since the logistics make it very, very difficult for us to do it all together, I would like to symbolically toast Bill and Peggy on behalf of all of us and the entire community. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in toasting a fellow citizen of Middletown, a fellow American, and a true citizen in the world. And Bill and Peggy, our blessings and prayers go with you both, and thank you very much for coming. Gee, Jim, you were late.
No, you were early.
Aren't you glad to know you're early, Bill?
Yeah, I can't believe this.
We're drinking to all of you. I don't know what Bill's going to do with all this champagne.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do with it either, but I hope you'll do something with it and help yourself to a glass or multiple glasses as we break up. And with that, we'll hear from the band, and there's going to be a big balloon let go out there in just a couple of seconds. And this ends the festivities for this afternoon. And thank you once again for coming. Good evening.
News 5 with Dave Robinson, Toria Hamill, Steve Raleigh's weather, Tom Brenneman has sport. Now, Cincinnati's News 5 Tonight.
Good evening. If all goes as President Reagan wants it to, a Middletown man will soon be Commerce Secretary. William Verity still has to be confirmed for the job, but this will be just the latest honor in a remarkable career as a captain of industry.
Verity has spent his life in Middletown, a native son who grew up to run his hometown's biggest industry, Armco Steel. Today, Middletown threw a party to honor a man most believe has helped this city thrive.
I've only been a resident of Middletown about 8 years, and it's really been an illumination to me to see the impact that one individual can have on a community such as Middletown.
The local high school sent its marching band. There were a host of speeches at the official ceremony, and thousands of balloons were launched from the town center, all to honor the man who gave up the leisure of semi-retirement to serve his country. Today, the Verities were appreciating the town's effort.
It's a wonderful expression, and we really did appreciate so much everything they all did for us. It's great.
First place, I didn't know I had that many friends, so that is good. And I think the only problem we have is the confirmation, because we would hate to have to come back and give all those things back to those nice people.
The first vote on Verity's nomination comes Wednesday in Washington. Verity says he's looking forward to running the Commerce Department, but adds, quote, if he's confirmed, He says he'll keep saying that until he indeed is confirmed. Toria?
Well, Reagan administration officials are saying Democrats.
And Middletown honors its citizen who has been called to the Capitol. Those stories, weather, and a big day in sports, next here on Eyewitness 12 News. Someone else who is on the move is C. William Verity. The former Armco executive has been called to Washington. Eyewitness 12's Pam Regas was in Middletown, Ohio today as people there paid tribute to their native son.
Middletown is celebrating. A hometown boy is on his way to Washington to become a member of the president's cabinet.
He's a Middletonian, which is something, and then to have somebody from our midst to end up on the Washington scene at that level in administration just makes us all feel good.
President Reagan has nominated 70-year-old Verity for the position of U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Verity doesn't get the position just yet. He says the Commerce Committee must approve the nomination, then the Senate must confirm it.
What has the nomination meant to you?
A whole new life. I was happily retired. Keep that in mind. Now I've got to go to work.
Those here have no doubt Verity will get the position. Today they honored him and his wife, showered them with gifts and words of praise. They thanked the former chief executive officer of Armco for his inspiration to the community and his generosity.
I can go back to our childhood days when we used to slide down the levee over there at the old Miami River, coming from a poor family, we didn't have the sleds that they had, and Bill would always let somebody use his sled, and we'd jump on it and ride down the hills. You know, and that's when he was just a youngster.
And this is the type of person Bill Verity is. Many people stood in line after the ceremony, and he took the time out to greet each person individually.
The Verities know people from every area of the community, and they seem to have been able to just have something to say, something very personal to say to all of them.
With fond memories of their past in Middletown, the Verities say they look forward to their future in Washington.
Yes, we really are. We think it's going to be fun. Don't forget, if confirmed.
Verity says he expects a Senate decision in about a week. In Middletown, Pam Regas, Eyewitness 12 News.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you for being here.
Does this mean now we get a picture of the Capitol? Get the whole thing. Oh my gosh. Joe. I hope you get some time. You know, BC.
Who's this fellow behind you?
I think I told you.
I'm a line waiter. You were wonderful to be there.